Hi, this is Linda Hofshire with the Embedding Evaluation in Libraries project, and this video focuses on data visualization when reporting the findings from an evaluation in your library. When you hear the term visualization, you may think of complex infographics that are created by a graphic designer, or perhaps interactive dashboards that display a myriad of statistics. However, in this video, the term data visualization is used to describe simpler visual presentations of data that are designed for lay audiences, such as creating a chart in Excel, or perhaps formatting a number to make it stand out from a sea of text in an evaluation report or presentation slides. You can easily improve these presentations of your findings and make them more impactful by applying a few simple visualization tips and techniques. We're going to cover a 5-step process to create simple data visualizations. The steps include determining your goals, specifying your audience, selecting the findings that you'll present, determining your visual presentation, and then creating the visualization using the best practices of graphic design. The first step in this process is to determine your main goals, as these will guide all of the subsequent design decisions that you make. What do you want your audience to learn or do as a result of viewing the visualization? As an example, let's say that your library provides a math-themed preschool storytime series, and your evaluation found the program to be effective in boosting children's engagement with math. You may want to share these findings to attract funding to expand this effort. This then could be the goal of your visualization, to communicate your findings about the effectiveness of the program in order to attract funding. The second step in the data visualization design process is to specify your primary audience for the visualization. Based on the goal that was specified for the Math Storytime series visualization, your audience is potential funders for the program. Perhaps there is a local foundation that has identified STEM kindergarten readiness as a priority area and seeks to fund curriculum development in this area. This organization could be your focus as you design your visualization. The third step in the data visualization design process is to select the findings you will share. For the Math Storytime example, you may have collected a variety of data, such as resources invested in the program in terms of money and staff, program attendance, and results from an evaluation that included surveys of children's parents and caregivers, storytime observations, and interviews with program volunteers. A key part of this step, after determining what data you have that are related to your visualization, is to narrow them down. You should avoid presenting all of the data you collect, as this will overwhelm your audience. Instead, present the key data points that best support your goals and are most relevant to your audience. For the Math Storytime series, this would include any data that address the Foundation's priorities, such as evaluation results indicating that Math Storytime participants are engaged and interested during the sessions. After selecting the findings you will share, your next step in the data visualization creation process is to determine how you will present them. Options include text, icons, and charts, or a combination of these elements. When considering these options, think about where you can take the opportunity to show, that is, to visualize the information, rather than just telling. It's tempting to want to explain your numbers with a lot of text, but you should take advantage of the power of visuals to convey your message. If you plan to use text or icons to present your data, consider whether you can provide any context for them to make them more understandable to your audience. 3 ways to add context to data are to present them as per capita figures, ratios or fractions, or with a comparison to popular culture. Per capita simply means per person. So, if your community has 100 residents and 500 books were checked out last year, the per capita is 5. 5 books were checked out per resident. Per capita is useful for making large numbers less abstract. For example, the Colorado State Library has a publication that's called Quotable Facts About Colorado Libraries. It uses per capita terms to present annual circulation figures for the state. And so you can see in this example that 123 million items were circulated annually, or more than 22 items for each person in the state. Another way to provide context is with ratios and fractions, which can serve as a nice alternative to percentages to provide more context for a statistic. For example, if you have survey results indicating that 88% of participants demonstrated engagement and interest in the math storytime sessions, you could present this as 4 in 5 participants demonstrated engagement and interest during the math storytime sessions. This technique works well when using icons to visualize your numbers, as you can see in the quotable fact about the number of Coloradans with library cards. A third way to provide context for a statistic is to compare your data with a popular culture phenomenon that many people would be familiar with. One of the Colorado quotable facts is that there are 6 times as many libraries in Colorado as Starbucks stores. Charts are often used to present evaluation findings. If you decide to use charts for your visualization, it's important to choose the chart type that most accurately represents your data. A pie chart can be a good choice if your categories sum to 100%, as the purpose of a pie chart is to present parts in relation to a whole. Pie charts work best if you are presenting data that are divided into 4 or fewer categories. For example, to present the results of a survey question asking about library card holder status, where the response options are just yes or no, or perhaps to show patron age groups. Here is an example of a pie chart with too many categories. As you can see, each segment of the pie is difficult to interpret. In this case, a bar chart would be a better choice. Bar charts are versatile and can be used for other purposes as well, including when your categories sum to more than 100%, such as in this chart presenting the results for a survey item indicating how parents learned about the math story times. This situation can happen if respondents can select all that apply on a survey question with multiple response options. Bar charts are also useful for comparing groups. In this example, the survey responses of families who are new to the library are compared with those of families who had previously attended Storytime for the item, "How did you learn about the math Storytimes?" So, the chart helps you see that new families more often learned about the math Storytimes from preschool teachers and friends, whereas returning families more often learned about the math Storytimes from library-specific sources, including librarians, the library Facebook page, a poster in the library, and the library newsletter. Line charts are meant to show trends, so you should only use these if you are presenting data over multiple points in time. Here is a line chart of math storytime attendance from 2017 to 2019 at 3 branches. The chart helps you identify the unique trends at each branch. Branch A has had a steady increase across the 3 years. Branch B's increase tapered off between 2018 and 2019. And Branch C increased from 2017 to 2018 and decreased from 2018 to 2019. After you've created your chart, there are a few design tweaks you can apply to make it easier to interpret. First, add data labels so that the viewer doesn't have to estimate the value of each chart element. Second, maximize white space by removing all unnecessary information such as the axes and grid lines. Third, make your chart two-dimensional, as 3 dimensions distort the proportions of the chart and make it difficult to interpret. And fourth, use your title strategically. Many chart titles simply provide descriptive information, such as the one in this example. For more impact, make your title a sentence that captures your main point. So for this chart, the most common ways parents learned about math story times were through a librarian or preschool teacher. Now that you have determined how you will present your evaluation findings, the fifth step in the data visualization creation process is to consider how you can apply some simple graphic design best practices for whitespace, color, and fonts to add visual appeal and impact. Whether you are creating a report, slides, an infographic, or some other type of visual presentation, it is important to maintain some white space, meaning the portion of a visualization that doesn't contain any elements, such as text or graphics. This provides a visual break for the viewer and helps to emphasize your key points. In terms of colors and fonts, if your organization has branding guidelines, these should be your starting place for making selections. Here is an example of the branding guidelines for Cleveland Public Library. Limit your color choices to 3 or 4 and be purposeful in your use of them. You can use 1 or 2 colors as the main colors and 1 or 2 as accents. Another option is to choose 1 color for your visualization and then use multiple shades of it. This technique helps your visualization to appear clean and cohesive, and it eliminates the need to select multiple colors that coordinate well with each other. For fonts, limit yourself to a maximum of 2. Using a large number of fonts is disorienting to your audience. You can use 1 font and a larger type size, different color, or bold text for titles and subtitles, and a second font for text. This helps the viewer easily navigate the visualization as the different fonts signify different content types. Here is an example of an infographic that applies these principles for colors and fonts. You can also use colors and fonts strategically to emphasize the main points of your visualization. Remember the chart showing how parents learned about the math story times? You can use color to highlight the main point, that parents most commonly learned about the math story times through a librarian or preschool teacher. Similarly, you can see how the formatting of color and fonts is used strategically in this infographic to highlight certain points. At this point, we've walked through the steps of the data visualization creation process by determining the primary goals for the visualization, identifying the audience, selecting the findings that you will share, determining how you will present those findings, and then thinking about how you will apply the best practices of graphic design. Now it's time to choose a tool to create your visualization. There are a variety of free or low-cost options for designing visualizations, including Microsoft Office 365 and the programs Excel, PowerPoint, and Word, and Google Sheets and Google Slides. These products are useful for creating charts, as well as designing presentations, reports, and infographics. Microsoft 365 has an icon library that contains many common subjects, including technology, communication, and education. You can customize the icons for your visualization by resizing them and applying your color scheme. Another option to access a wide variety of icons is the Noun Project website. It features an app that can be used with a variety of software, including Microsoft PowerPoint and Word, and Google Docs and Slides, to seamlessly customize and add any icon from its vast library to your visualization. While Microsoft 365 and Google software provide many options for designing visualizations, one potential downside is that you are starting with a blank canvas. If you don't want to build a visualization from scratch, there are a variety of online tools that offer customizable templates. One tool is Infogram. It's available freely as well as on a subscription basis with more features, and it contains templates for infographics, reports, slides, social media posts, and more. Infogram also offers a variety of chart types and icons that you can add to these templates to customize them or use to build a visualization from scratch. Another online tool is Adobe Spark. This freely available program can be used to create a variety of visualizations, including infographics, reports, and social media posts, as well as video slideshows. The program contains a library of stock images, icons, and music that you can select from to customize your visualization. After you design your visualization, review it critically with an eye toward any opportunities to simplify or remove information. Remember, your goal is to communicate a point, not to include all of the data that you can fit into the visualization. One way to simplify your visualization is to break it into multiple parts. So instead of presenting all of your information on one page, or one slide, or one social media image, consider whether you can present one point per page, slide, or social media image to make the information more digestible. And one final tip. While it's important to keep your visualization simple, you need to include any important information that provides context for the data, such as when the data were collected or how many people participated in a study if you are presenting evaluation findings. Depending on the type of visualization you created, you could include this information in places such as an introductory paragraph or a footnote below a chart or at the bottom of a page. For more information about using visualization to present data to lay audiences, two good sources are the websites of visualization consultants Anne Emery and Stephanie Evergreen. Both sites include tips, tutorials, and tools for selecting the appropriate charts to present your data. To learn more about how to share your evaluation findings for other purposes and with other audiences than in the example covered in this video, you can view the video on reporting evaluation findings. And for more information about embedding evaluation in your library, visit our website at libraryeval.org.